Are you looking to build influence? Or maybe to drive more traffic? But bottom line, you want to change the game. You've come to the right place. Welcome to the Business Building Book Club. We're going to give you the tools you need to succeed, both online and in person. Brought to you by Coach Molly and Three Pines Leadership.
Hey, Visibiltiy Hackers, and welcome back to the Business Building Book Club. I'm your host, Coach Molly from Visibiltyhacking.com, and today we're diving into Russell Brunson's Expert Secrets, the Underground Playbook for converting your visitors into lifelong fans. That's exciting. Today we're diving back into the book, so if you want to follow along, feel free to pick up your copy of Expert Secrets, absolutely free. You just have to cover the cost of shipping. Links are down in the description box. All right, let's dive into today's chapter. So we're going to read secret number 11, the perfect webinar framework. The first time, this is on page 206 in the hardcover edition. So that's the second edition. The first time I saw someone sell from stage, it changed my life forever. The speaker gave a 90-minute presentation and at the end made an offer. I watched in amazement as dozens of people ran to the back of the room to give this person thousands of dollars. I counted the people in the back of the room, did some simple math, and realized that he had made more than $60,000 in 2 hours. I then saw the next presenter get on stage and follow a similar process, and within 90 minutes he had a table rush that made them more than $100,000. I knew right then that I had to learn and master the skill at any cost. A few months later, I got invited to speak at my first event, and I remember thinking that I was going to out-teach every other speaker up there. I would teach more stuff and better stuff and blow the minds of the audience, which I assumed would make the people want to buy. I prepared for weeks, and when I finally got on stage, I delivered the most content-packed presentation anyone had ever heard. After blowing their minds with what I shared with them, I made a special offer to buy the course that I had just created. But what happened next shocked me. Nothing. Nobody moved. I awkwardly walked off the stage and shook hands with some of the people in the room and then snuck out the back door and ran to my hotel room. I was so embarrassed that I had spent the rest of the event hiding in my room, watching movies and eating Haagen-Dazs ice cream and coconut shrimp. It was one of the worst feelings I ever felt to bomb like that in front of everyone. I swore that I'd never speak or sell on stage ever again. I was going to sit behind my computer and just sell things online, but I discovered that the skills I needed to sell online were the same skills I was lacking when I spoke from stage. So I decided to humble myself and learn. I didn't want to learn from people who were good speakers, but rather from people who could actually sell from their respective platforms, such as stage or teleseminars or webinars or sales videos, etc. There's a huge difference. What I discovered from the best people in the business was that teaching the best content hurts sales. But learning how to identify, break, and rebuild false belief patterns gets people to take the action they need in order to change. I learned how to tell stories, how to structure offers, and so much more. Then for 3 years, I stood on stages all around the world, in front of thousands of people, and tested the presentations over and over and over again. I watched closely to see which topics, in what order, would make people run to the back of the room with their credit cards in hand. I also paid attention to what slowed my sales. Then one day I decided I was tired of traveling and leaving my family behind, so I quit speaking from stage, despite the fact that I was making $250,000 or more from a single 90-minute presentation. Instead, I transferred these selling skills to the online environment. I tested my script on teleseminars and webinars. I used it for video sales letters, Facebook Live presentations, and more. Each time I presented using this script, I'd watch the response and make tweaks. I did it over and over again for years. Every so often, I'll go back and do an event like the 10X that has been Let me start that again. Every so often, I'll go and do an event like 10X that has a big enough crowd to make it fun, but outside of what I have retired from speaking on stages, I focus 100% on using this script inside my sales funnels. A few years ago, I started teaching the script and the process to my inner circle members. Dozens of them have implemented the script in almost any market you can dream of. It's battle tested, it works, it's perfect. That's why it's been nicknamed the perfect webinar. But in reality, it's more than that. It's the perfect sales presentation, and it's worth mastering if you really want to get your message to market. The framework. The framework revolves around 3 core phases: the big domino, the 3 secrets, and the stack and close. I will introduce you to each of these sections as they fit into the overall framework here, and then go over the next 3 chapters. I will dive deep into each one and give you examples of how and why they work. When I give this presentation at a live event or in a webinar, it usually fits into a 90-minute time slot. When I have 90 minutes, the timeline looks like this. First 15 minutes, introduction, big domino, and origin story. Next 15 minutes, secret number 1, the vehicle framework story. The next 15 minutes, secret number 2, internal belief story. And the next 15 minutes is secret number 3, external belief story. The last 30 minutes is the stack and close. If I have only 30 minutes, I break it down like this. First 5 minutes, intro, domino, origin story. Next 5 minutes, secret number 1, vehicle framework story. Next 5 minutes, secret number 2, internal belief story. Next 5 minutes is secret number 3, external belief story. And the last 10 minutes is the stack and close. The ratios stay the same. You just expound longer on your stories and tell more short epiphany bridge stories to break more false beliefs if time permits. The big domino. One of the biggest things to understand, and we'll go deeper into it in the next chapter, is that the presentation is not about getting your audience to believe a lot of things. The entire presentation is designed to get them to believe just one thing: that your new opportunity is the key to them getting the results they desire most. That's it. If you try to get someone to believe in more than one thing, your sales will suffer. Jason Faladin once explained, "The idea is to have a single point of belief that your message is built around and is emphasized over and over and over again from a variety of different angles. The whole presentation is created to knock down that one domino. That's it." The 3 secrets you're about to learn are not new things they're trying to get them to believe. They're the tools you use to attack the domino from a variety of different angles. And that is the key to the perfect webinar. Your first attempt to knock down the big domino is by telling your origin story about how you discovered the new opportunity. This story will kick off the presentation, build rapport between you and your audience, and introduce them to the new vehicle that you will be presenting. The 3 secrets. This is the content section of your presentation. I mentioned earlier that if you teach too much, it will hurt, if not kill, your sales. This is where most people get tripped up, and the better teacher you are, the more you will struggle making sales because of this. During the 3 secrets, you will be teaching your frameworks in a similar way to what you learned in secret number 2 of this book, with one exception. When you're teaching a course, you tell your story, explain the strategy, teach the tactics, and provide social proof. When you're selling, you do not teach the tactics. You teach what, or the strategy, but not the how. Your audience's desire is for how is the reason they are going to give you money at the end of your presentation. The goal of each story, strategy, and case study that you share is meant to break a specific false belief pattern and rewrite the true story in your listener's mind. You need to identify the false beliefs that you have around the following: the vehicle or your new opportunity, your ability to use the vehicle or internal beliefs, the number one thing that they believe is keeping them from getting started, external beliefs. You will teach story, strategy, and case study for each of these 3 secrets. So let's talk about the 3 secrets. The vehicle, the internal beliefs, and the external beliefs. Notice that the 3 secrets are not trying to get people to believe new things. They are simply false beliefs they already have about your big domino. If you knock down these 3 beliefs through the content section of your presentation, the big domino will fall and they will join your new opportunity. The stack and the closes. Here is where you move the teaching to the sales portion of the presentation. You'll then present your offer in a very precise format we call the stack. And you'll weave in some very specific closes that have been proven to persuade people to take the action they need in order to get results. And yes, you will be using your stack slide during this portion of the presentation. That's the bird's eye view of the perfect webinar framework. After you master it, you'll be able to give a presentation like this on the fly. But it's important to really understand the objectives for each section. Next, the next 3 chapters will break down each part of the perfect webinar, slide by slide. And so with that, my friends, we're going to close the book on this chapter of the Business Building Book Club, this chapter of Russell Brunson's Expert Secrets. So remember, if you don't already have a copy, grab yours down in the links below. It's absolutely free. Just cover the cost of shipping. This is one of the best business books out there. If you want to position yourself as an authority, as an expert, as someone who has the knowledge and skills to help your people achieve the results that are really going to change the world, then this is the book that's going to help launch that for you. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode. Make sure that you find us on all of your favorite social platforms, like us on YouTube, and of course, become an official Visibiltiy Hacker by joining us at visibiltyhacking.com. It's been an absolute pleasure, my friends. I will see you in our next episode. And until then, remember I love you and be excellent to each other.